have you ever wondered what happens when a ruler becomes so desperate for power that they are willing to sacrifice everything? What if I told you about a queen who traded her very soul for armor that couldn't be pierced? This is the story of Queen Sira and the Whispering Forge, a tale where seeking perfection leads to the ultimate downfall. By the end of this video, you'll understand why sometimes having one truth is better than chasing two. So grab your favorite drink and let's dive into this dark fantasy world. But first, if you enjoy stories like this, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. It really helps the channel grow. Let me paint you a picture of Queen Sira of Bryn. She wasn't born into royalty. She earned her crown through blood, sweat, and rebellion. Picture a woman standing on a windswept cliff, her dark hair whipping in the wind. Her eyes hold the weight of 1,000 difficult decisions. This is our queen, and her kingdom is dying. The ministers whisper in dark corners. Noble families plot against each other. Every smile in her court hides a blade ready to strike. You see, Sira had fought for this kingdom years ago. She was a rebel leader who refused to bow to a corrupt king. But winning a war and ruling a kingdom are two very different things. Let me take you back to how she first became queen. 20 years earlier, young Sira climbed the mountain of Velshir. This wasn't just any mountain. It was home to Cleoked, the forge god. Imagine a being tall as 3 men, his skin like molten copper. His hammer strikes echo through the mountain like thunder. Steam rises from his forge, and the air smells of hot metal and ancient magic. Cleoked doesn't forge weapons for glory or conquest. He forges truth into metal. Each weapon he creates serves a purpose beyond just cutting and slashing. Young Sira climbed for days to reach his forge. Her hands were bloody from the sharp rocks. Her clothes were torn from the thorny bushes. But she had a burning need for justice. She knelt before the forge god and made her request. I need a weapon that can cut through corruption, she said. Something that will burn away lies and reveal truth. Cleoked studied her with eyes like glowing coals. He saw her heart, her intentions, her pure desire for justice. So he forged her a sword, but not just any sword. This blade would burn bright blue in the presence of corruption. It would grow hot when someone spoke lies. It would guide her hand toward justice. With this sword, Sira returned to her rebellion. She could identify corrupt officials instantly. She could tell friend from foe. She could cut through deception like a knife through silk. The sword helped her win the war and claim the throne. For years, it served her well. But here's the thing about power. It's never enough. As Queen Sira ruled, new problems arose. The sword could identify corruption, but it couldn't prevent it. She could see lies, but she couldn't stop people from believing them. She could cut down enemies, but new ones kept appearing. The kingdom was like a garden full of weeds. She could pull them out, but they kept growing back. Her ministers learned to hide their corruption better. Her enemies became more clever. Her allies started to question her methods. Sira realized she needed more than just a weapon. She needed protection, not just for her body, but for her ideals. So she made a decision that would change everything. She decided to climb the mountain again. But here's what you need to know about Cleoked. He only forges once per soul. That's his rule. Anyone who returns asking for a second truth pays a terrible price. And that price is always exactly what you can't afford to lose. Sira knew this, but she climbed anyway. The second climb was harder than the first. The mountain seemed to resist her. Rocks crumbled under her feet. Storms came out of nowhere. It was as if the mountain itself was warning her to turn back. But Sira pressed on. She reached the forge, and there was Cleoked, still hammering, still shaping metal, still wreathed in smoke and flame. "You seek a second truth?" he asked without looking up. His voice was like grinding stone. "Yes," Sira replied. "You know the cost. I'll pay it." This is where the story gets really dark. Cleoked looked at her and smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who knows a terrible secret. "I will forge you armor," he said. armor that cannot be pierced by blade or arrow, armor that will turn aside any attack, armor that shimmers with integrity itself. But in return, I want your voice. Now, you might think he just wanted her to be quiet, but Keleth didn't want just her speech. He wanted her conviction, her ability to inspire, her power to lead through words. He wanted the very essence of what made her a queen. Sira hesitated. A queen without a voice is like a bird without wings. But she thought about her crumbling kingdom. She thought about the corruption spreading like poison. She thought about her people suffering. So she agreed. The forging process was unlike anything she had experienced before. Keleth didn't just shape metal. He drew something out of Sira herself. With each hammer blow, she felt her voice growing weaker. Her final words became a whisper, and that whisper was embedded into the steel itself. The armor was beautiful. It gleamed like starlight. It was lighter than silk but stronger than dragon scales. It would protect her from any physical harm. But when she tried to speak, only empty air came out. Sira descended the mountain in silence. She returned to her castle, wearing her magnificent armor, but something fundamental had changed. Without her voice, she couldn't explain her long absence. She couldn't address the rumors that had spread. She couldn't inspire her troops or comfort her people. But it gets worse. Remember her sword, the one that burned in the presence of corruption? It started acting strangely. Instead of reacting to lies and corruption, it began reacting to fear. And people were afraid of their silent, armored queen. During council meetings, the sword would flare up. It would ignite banners and tapestries. It would make the room unbearably hot. Her advisors began to panic. They couldn't understand why their queen had become mute. They couldn't understand why her sword was acting like a weapon of terror. Some whispered that she had been cursed. Others said she had made a deal with dark forces. The very people she was trying to protect began to fear her. Her allies started to distance themselves. Her enemies grew bolder. Foreign diplomats refused to meet with a queen who couldn't speak. How do you negotiate treaties without words? How do you inspire loyalty without a voice? How do you lead a kingdom when your presence terrifies your subjects? Sira realized she had made a terrible mistake. She had gained perfect protection for her body, but she had lost the ability to protect her kingdom. The armor that was supposed to preserve her ideals had made it impossible to share them. She was like a lighthouse with its light turned off, still standing, still strong, but no longer serving its purpose. The kingdom of Britain began to fall apart, not from invasion or war, but from silence. Without their queen's voice to guide them, the people lost direction. Without her words to inspire them, they lost hope. Without her ability to mediate, conflict spread. Noble families turned against each other. Trade agreements fell apart. The army became restless and undisciplined. Within a single season, everything Sira had built began to crumble. The irony was cruel. She had perfect armor that protected her from every blade, but she couldn't protect herself from watching her life's work destroyed. She stood in her throne room, silent and untouchable. Around her, the kingdom died. Her ministers abandoned their posts. Her knights left to serve other lords. Her people fled to neighboring kingdoms. Sira had become the most protected and most powerless person in the world. Meanwhile, back in the mountain, Keleth continued his work. The forge echoed with whispers, thousands of voices from those who had sought second truths. Each whisper was a reminder of the price of wanting too much. Sira's voice had joined this chorus. Her final words, her last plea for justice, now lived in the metal itself. The armor would protect whoever wore it, but it would always carry the echo of her sacrifice. And in the depths of the mountain, Keleth spoke his truth. One truth is a mirror, he said. It shows you what is. Two truths are a blade. They cut away what you need most. This is the lesson of the Whispering Forge. Sometimes the solution to our problems costs us more than the problems themselves. Sometimes seeking perfection destroys the very thing we're trying to perfect. Sira wanted to be the perfect ruler. She wanted to be untouchable, uncorrupted, and pure. But leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being human. It's about making mistakes and learning from them. It's about connecting with people, not standing apart from them. By seeking divine protection, Sira lost her humanity. By trying to become untouchable, she lost her ability to touch other people's lives. The story of Queen Sira teaches us about the danger of extremes. In trying to solve all her problems at once, she created a problem that couldn't be solved. She traded her greatest strength for protection she didn't really need. Think about it. What made Sira a good queen wasn't her sword or her armor. It was her ability to inspire people, her capacity to lead by example, her skill at bringing people together. The forged gods' weapons were tools, not solutions. The real power was always in Sira herself. But she forgot that. She thought external tools could replace internal strength. She thought divine weapons could substitute for human wisdom. This is a trap we all fall into sometimes. We look for magical solutions to complex problems. We want the perfect tool, the perfect system, the perfect approach. But real solutions come from within. They come from patience, wisdom, and the willingness to keep trying. Sira's story is a warning about the cost of shortcuts. There are no easy answers to difficult problems. There are no perfect solutions to human challenges. Every choice has a price. Every power has a cost. The question isn't whether we'll have to sacrifice something. The question is whether we're sacrificing the right things. Sira sacrificed her voice for protection, but a leader's voice is their most important tool. She traded her humanity for divinity, but humans need human leaders, not distant gods. The Whispering Forge reminds us that some prices are too high to pay. Some solutions cost more than the problems they solve. Some truths are too dangerous to seek. In the end, Queen Sira stands as a cautionary tale. A reminder that the pursuit of perfection can lead to the destruction of everything we hold dear. Her kingdom fell not because she was weak, but because she tried to become too strong. Not because she was flawed, but because she tried to eliminate all flaws. The whispers in Keleth's forge carry the voices of all who learned this lesson too late. They echo through the mountain as a warning to future seekers. Be careful what you forge. Be careful what you sacrifice. Be careful what truths you seek, because some knowledge comes at a price too high to pay, and some powers are too dangerous to wield. The story of Queen Sira and the Whispering Forge shows us that sometimes our greatest strength lies in accepting our limitations. That true leadership comes from connection, not isolation. That the most powerful tool a leader has is their voice, not their sword. What do you think about Sira's choice? Was she right to seek the second truth? Could she have found another way to save her kingdom? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dark fantasy tale, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps other people discover these stories. And if you want to hear more forgotten legends and cautionary tales, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I've got plenty more stories about gods, heroes, and the prices they paid for power. Until next time, remember the lesson of the Whispering Forge. Choose your truth wisely. Some knowledge is worth any price, but some prices are too high for any knowledge. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.